today we're going to be talking about the different tournament arcs that have happened throughout all of the series of Dragon Ball, from original to Z to Super and everything in between. And we'll be talking about them and discussing which one we find the best, which one we think's the worst, and yeah. So, do you want to get started? Which tournament to you stands out the most?
My personal favorite is I don't think you'll approve of the fact that uh, that questionable whether it's a tournament, but to me it's definitely a tournament. Is the Cell games? To me, it is
Hmm.
definitely a tournament,
Right.
and I base that on the fact of there was an official announcement by Cell. He makes an arena.
He
There are
does.
direct contestants. It is televised. there are there are contestants that forfeit,
Yeah.
and then they move on to other fighters.
Okay, yeah, fine. It does fit the boxes
and
of
it
a tournament.
and it
It's
even has a name.
yeah, single elimination by death, and that's all. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You got us
No,
there.
Goku, I give up. He
True.
forfeits.
I don't think Sal would have let him off though if that was the end of the tournament.
Yeah. So yeah, that is actually my favorite tournament. Everything that happens in and around it is just it's fantastic.
Hmm.
Um before I talk about why I think that's my favorite, what's yours?
My favorite is the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament, which is the one that Goku wins. The one where he faces Piccolo in the final. But there's a lot of tournaments, especially in original Dragon Ball, which I know a lot of people haven't watched, which you really, really should. So, for the actual martial arts tournaments, I've written them all down here, so I'm going to do a quick rundown of what each of them was. So the first one was the 21st. The story was all about how Master Roshi doesn't want Goku to win so that he keeps up his training. And that's exactly what happens. Master Roshi ends up winning it all. The 22nd is the one where there's a little bit of a time skip. Goku's slightly older and he gets to the final and is beaten by Tien. And then the 23rd is the one I've just mentioned, my favorite one, where it's the Demon King, well, not the Demon King Piccolo, Piccolo Jr. tournament, where Goku finally gets his win. And I'll talk about that one more in depth in a minute. The 24th one is the one that Mr. Satan wins off screen. You don't really know about it. And it's also the one where the junior division is implemented, and Videl is the first winner of the junior division. The 25th tournament is the one where 18 throws it in the final to let Mr. Satan win. And then they all agree for the next few tournaments that they'll allow Mr. Satan to win. So 26, 27, and 28 all take place off screen, with everyone just agreeing to let Mr. Satan win. So, Mr. Satan is at least a 4-time winner of the martial arts tournament, which is interesting. But yeah, them are all the martial arts tournaments that are run down anyway.
I in terms of the I'll be honest, I haven't seen all of OG Dragon Ball. You're well
Mm.
aware of this, but previous discussion I did check out the tournaments, and I have to agree that yeah, I agree. The Piccolo 23rd is the best one out of
Yeah,
them in my opinion. I think just
definitely.
everything about it is just better. I mean, you've got obviously Chi Chi, you've got the Tien face off, you've
Mm.
got obviously the end fight
Yeah,
with Piccolo versus Goku,
Goku. Yeah.
which is just fantastic. But I think it's cool because you still get the Goku Tien,
Mm-hmm.
and you still get a big bad fight. So it's
Mm.
not just like they're looking at Tien won the last one, so he has to be the big bad guy of the next one.
Yeah.
It's like no, it's like we can still give you that and resolve that,
Mm.
but you're still going to get a true bad guy,
Yeah.
and it's an actual bad guy. So
Mm.
it's not just like a face off. It there's an actual threat,
Mm-hmm.
um, and there's a lot of resolution to other stories. It's not just a Goku thing,
Yeah.
because Tien also gets his resolution, looking at the Crane School,
Yeah.
with Mercenary Tao. And basically, he resolves his issues with them, which I quite like. Well, resolves. In other words, he whoops Mercenary Tao.
Yeah.
So no, in terms of the other one, I do really like a lot happens in it.
Mm.
There's a lot in there, and I do like that. And there's a lot in that there that has carried over into current Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Obviously, his marriage to Chi Chi, the involvement of Tien, the involvement of Piccolo,
Yeah.
all of that happened basically linked directly to that tournament.
Yeah. Of course, because like, especially if you haven't seen Dragon Ball, you need to go back and watch it. Firstly, because the original Dragon Ball is incredible, but out of the three tournaments that happen throughout OG Dragon Ball, the first one, the fights are still interesting and good. Like there's the fight where Krillin is against I forgot his name. I should have really written it down or remembered, but against a really fat, stinky guy, and he basically wins because Krillin doesn't have a nose, and that's how he advances. He beats him.
Is it Bacterian?
Bacterian, yes, that's his name. I should have
Yeah.
remembered that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but all of the fights in original Dragon Ball are actual martial arts fights, so the animation's great. But the story of that one was, like I said, it's just Master Roshi doesn't want Goku to win. So he goes undercover as Jackie Chan, and yeah, that's how that happens. Roshi ends up winning in the end. The 22nd one, it's all about Crane School versus Turtle School, pretty much, and Tien's introduced, so is Chaozu. Again, there's some interesting fights there with Krillin and Chaozu fighting, and the main fight, of course, being Goku and Tien, which Tien wins. But yeah, you've mentioned a lot about the 23rd one, and it is my favorite tournament out of all of them because every single matchup has some sort of meaning. So I want to run down the individual matchups. So the first one was Tien versus Tao, which was great because, you know, it's Crane student versus Crane master's brother. So, you know, there's all relations there. Everything makes sense. They both knew each other. And it was good to see Tao back again. And, you know, that's great. The next fight was Chi-Chi versus Goku, which again, it's the reintroduction of Chi-Chi. Everyone's shocked to see that Chi-Chi returns from being this kid who was a little bit annoying to begin with, and now she's like a woman and she's still interested in Goku. And of course, that leads to Goku agreeing to marry her after the fight. There's the fight between Krillin and Piccolo, which is pretty good as well. There's Yamcha versus Kami as Shen, which is great, but of course Yamcha just gets embarrassed. But that's the comedy fight of the tournament. There's always got to be one, and that is the one. And it's also great just for, you know, some difference to happen. You know, you can't always have serious fights, and that's a fun fight, even if Yamcha does get embarrassed throughout.
I was going to say it's Yamcha as well.
Yeah, we talked about that already a few episodes ago. But yeah,
it is God, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah, it is God, but he's messing around with them, and yeah, he just gets embarrassed.
It's uncalled for.
Yeah. But also in the semis, you know, you've got Tien versus Goku, which is, you know, a rematch from the previous tournament. Lots of good action in that one, and of course, Goku actually beats him this time. Then you have
that's actually that's the first time we see the multiform, isn't it?
It might be. I can't remember if he uses it in the finals of the previous fight or not. It might be the first time we see it.
Yeah, and I also like the whole weighted clothing thing, which becomes a staple.
It does. Yeah.
It just becomes a staple of Dragon Ball. Basically, that as soon as Goku takes off the weighted clothing, Tien gets annihilated. Basically.
Yeah, I do like that. And then, of course, you have the matchup between Piccolo and Kami, which is where Kami kind of reveals himself. He tries to use the Mafuba to imprison Piccolo, because that's kind of the whole arc where they're trying to stop Piccolo. So he uses the Mafuba, tries to seal him up in the vial, and that's obviously reversed, and Kami is trapped in the vial, and then Piccolo swallows the little vial, and you think, oh, okay, Kami's trapped and gone forever. And that's not a disqualification in this tournament. Piccolo advances still, even though he's eaten the other competitor, but okay. And then in the final, of course, you've got Goku versus Piccolo, which this entire fight is just epic. It's a great fight. There's so many good things that happen. You know, Piccolo uses his giant form. and that's cool to see. And it's pretty cool how they do it with Goku flying into his mouth to retrieve the vial to get Kami back, which is cool.
It's a long fight.
It is a
Oh,
long fight. It is a really long fight.
yeah.
I think it's close to like 50 minutes or something. Like it
Yeah,
spans
I
over
looked it
one
up. I
episode.
looked it up, and when I watched it, it's 50, I think it was 50 minutes, 18 seconds or
Hmm.
something like that. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, strap
it's
in.
it's a long one. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
also the part where Goku's doing a lot of damage to Piccolo, and his arm is basically dead, and he decides to just rip it off and grow a new arm. It's like, okay, fine, yeah, if that's how you want to do things.
Again, that becomes a staple of the show.
Yeah, and a joke in Team Four Star with the many arms
Yeah,
of Piccolo.
yeah.
um,
But
and
the thing about that I actually like about that is that what was I going to say is the fact that it demonstrates the Goku that he doesn't want other people getting involved,
mm,
because when Kami tries to help him later
he's like,
after
yeah, no,
he's
let me do
yeah
this on my
after
own.
he's managed after Goku's managed to get him out of Piccolo's mouth
Mm,
and releases him, he tries to help, and Goku tells him no,
yeah,
and then lets Piccolo have a free punch
yeah.
because Kami punched him. It's like that's just Goku in a nutshell, and it's like this is what's going to happen for the rest of Dragon Ball. It's
Yeah,
like,
Goku letting
oh.
his enemies recover slightly, give him a fair chance. It's like, don't show no mercy, just one time.
Kill someone,
Yeah.
please.
Uh,
Uh,
but of course, there's other bits as well, like Piccolo shooting the beam out of his mouth to paralyze Goku's arm as well. And that final throwback to where Goku headbutts Piccolo out of the arena for the win. Good ending to the fight. Nice little throwback to the punch through the chest of Demon King Piccolo. Tries to do the same thing again, but it just knocks him out the ring, and that's a nice little throwback. And yeah, it's how original Dragon Ball ends with this tournament. It is the best one of the show, and it ended the entire show. It had to be good, I guess, and yeah, it was. It was really good. Really liked it.
yeah, because literally, it is. That's like it's nothing happens after that. It's literally just filler,
Yeah,
and then
it shows you Goku and Chi Chi getting married, and that's it. That is
yeah,
it. That's how the show ends. So it is a really good tournament. And if they wanted to end the show there, like I'm at the time, I'm guessing they weren't planning Dragon Ball Z, or maybe if they were, who knows. But if they wanted to wrap it up, that was perfect. They did 3 tournament arcs. Goku doesn't win in the first 2. He finally gets his big win. He defeats his enemies, and yeah, it wraps up with him getting married. It was a perfect ending to Dragon Ball.
I
Great
think
stuff.
I think it's because like Kami actually offers him to be Guardian of Earth
Mm,
at the end of the tournament, because
mm,
he sees that like his compassion and everything by he offers, after having a senzu bean himself, after being crippled by Piccolo, he
mm.
gives Piccolo a senzu bean.
Yeah.
and and basically Kami seeing his compassion and everything like that, saying, "Do you want to take over for me?" Kami just doesn't want to be the Guardian of
No,
Earth.
he
He's so
doesn't.
lazy. He's trying to give it everybody.
I've been doing this long
And
enough.
basically
Please, someone take it away from me.
and basically he's and Goku just turns around and basically acts the way he always has, and
Mm,
he's just like, no, Kami, this isn't me, and he just wants to run off on adventures all the time, and it's just yeah. So he's just the young. He's always going to be the young boy who hops on the cloud and flies off on an adventure.
yeah,
So it makes sense, yeah. And it literally, in this case, he does that, but he gets the girl.
he does.
not that he ever wanted the girl in the first place,
He
but
was just hungry, but
managed
he got
it.
it. And he also got a lot of food, so win-win for him, I guess. But going back to the Cell Saga, I do like that one. As I still don't know if I would technically class it as a tournament, but it is. I understand it is good. I do like that as well, and it's a lot of people's favorite arc in Dragon Ball: The Cell Saga. Mainly because of Gohan and his character development during that time. But there is a lot of good fights in there as well between Cell and a lot of different people. Um, and his many transformations as well throughout.
I think the thing is, there's a lot of development there, and it's a culmination of a lot of what's been coming for multiple arcs. You finally get to see all the foreshadowing of Gohan and what he's become. Like it's basically since the Saiyan saga, it's been suggested that he is that powerful. It's why Piccolo took him in the first place. Since the headbutt of Raditz, basically,
Yeah.
Piccolo saw something there. He trained him, and every time Gohan stepped up at some point and done something, and then we saw the one of the most iconic moments in Dragon Ball is that ending.
Yeah.
Cell is a fantastic villain. He's brilliant. I thoroughly enjoy Cell as a villain. It's my favorite finisher is that finisher from Gohan killing Cell up until the Tournament of Power when Goku used the Tony Hawk skate to knock out Kefla when he rode Kamehameha, rode on a laser beam and blasted her out.
Yeah.
It's so good. The grind, Kamehameha grind on the laser beam. It's too good. But before that, it was the best finisher in Dragon Ball before that. And it's just my favorite because, and I think I'm biased because I'm a Z kid. It's when I came in, and there was a lot of things I love about the Frieza saga and everything I love, but when we're talking specifically about tournaments, I enjoy, like, when I caught up and I watched the tournaments like we discussed I would, and seen everything, and I do like the things like the 23rd. I think the 23rd has a lot more on the 21st and 22nd. I think there's a lot more at stake, and there's a lot more in terms of character development. A lot more people are introduced, a lot more people get developed, in my opinion. But in terms of Z, I resonate a lot more with the Z characters because that's where I came in. And so characters like Gohan mean a lot more to me. And having seen his growth is why it's so important to me, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so impactful for me. So I think from a non-biased standpoint, the 23rd would probably take it. From a personal standpoint, I just love watching it. If someone was to sit me down and say, what do you want to watch in terms of which tournament, I would pick the Cell games each time because it's something that I just thoroughly enjoy. And I think the only thing I don't like is just like I think they kill him like not including the one time that he blows up and dies. I think they kill him 2 other times. Like they blow his head off.
Oh yeah.
Like there's the time Goku instant transmission his head off, and he just pops back open. Then this is the time Gohan deflects his Kamehameha, blows him in half, still doesn't work. It's like,
how do you
at some
beat
point
him?
he has to go down.
Yeah. How do you win?
I think it would have been a bit better if they'd just done the one comeback. It would have had more impact for me. I would have probably liked that better. If the self-destruct and then he came back, I think I would have liked that. It still had an amazing effect, especially the first time, because I didn't expect it. I thought the bad guy was beaten. I never thought he would come back. I thought self-destruct means you die.
Yeah.
Coming back and watch, and just Trunks just annihilates, just straight out like that, gone. And just to delete a character like that is like, usually it has more foreshadowing that it's going to happen, or something, or it precedes something, like Krillin getting blown up. Like we previously discussed, things like that, like it led to the Super Saiyan transformation, but everything was happening so powerfully and so quickly that no one had time to register Trunks' death.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, whoa, that just happened. And basically Gohan just felt like it was his fault. And it led to Vegeta obviously taking on more of the fact that this is in fact his son, and he did the Vegeta thing, and he kicked off, and basically he nearly scuffed it for everybody. And
Yeah, just like normal. Yeah.
yeah, basically, um, really, Gohan should have just let Cell kill him, and they could have just wished him back for the Dragon Balls, and then it would have all been a lot easier. But
Mm, potentially, yeah.
um, yeah, but the ending Kamehameha is fantastic with Goku helping him behind him and talking him through it, like the speeches,
Mm,
the dialogue is fantastic. I just really enjoy it. The
yeah.
build up to the actual tournament itself, the training in the hyperbolic time chamber. There's that really haunting nightmare that Gohan has, which is
Mm,
really creepy,
with the
where
bird
Cell
flying through.
yeah,
Oh no,
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 the
I
one
was
where
thinking of the
it's
other bit. Yeah,
yeah, the one where
yeah,
Cell appears in the hyperbolic time chamber and murders Piccolo and Chi Chi,
yeah,
and I think it stamps on Piccolo's head,
yeah.
and it's like, you spent too long in that time chamber, kid. You need some fresh air. Like that's dark for
It
Piccolo.
is. It is.
That's dark for Dragon Ball. Like,
Mm,
well, I suppose it's dark for Piccolo as well then. but but yeah, I think I really enjoy it. The whole build up to the tournament as well. But I suppose that's kind of cheating because we're talking about the tournaments themselves. But
mm.
I think again, it's my bias that carries it over. But I think if we had to say like the tournaments caliber themselves, I think the 23rd does take it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got everything you could want from a tournament. There's great martial arts stuff, especially. There's great fights between different characters. There's a lot of progression by characters. All of the matchups are good and make sense. And the finale with Goku defeating Piccolo is the cherry on top. It's a great tournament. But I do also like the Cell games. Cell games are good too. But yeah, what is your favorite tournament? Let us know in the comments down below. And right now, we'll move on to our second section of the podcast, which is the Hall of Fame.